Good day to you all. If you would please put your palms together for a meditation reading. Every journey begins from the self and what is learned on the way. A saying by Reverend Dr. Sagan Yamaoka. If you would please put your palms together for Gasho. Namo Amidas. Namo Amidas. Namo Amidas. Namo Amidas. Namo Amidas. There is nothing like a cold, crisp, sweet watermelon on a hot summer day. It is soothing and cooling as well. Although some of us are allergic to this fruit, the temptation is still there. When I eat any kind of melon, my throat will get scratchy. It feels as though my lips are swollen and my chin breaks out with tiny itchy bumps. I have not eaten any melon for over 10 years. While at the store, they displayed melons in a bin, sitting on a bed of ice, and the watermelon looked so delicious. Well, this melon kept teasing my eyes and made my mouth water. It kept calling my name. Psst, psst, Naomi, Naomi. Don't I look good? Don't you want to eat me? It is so hot outside, and I would taste so scrumptious as a dessert. My willpower failed, and greed reared its ugly head. When I got home, I put the melon in the refrigerator to keep it cold. I told myself that I would only eat one small chunk after dinner. The time came around and I took out the melon. The smell was so refreshing to the nose and appeasing to the eyes. And I took out a chunk and bit into it. That first bite brought back memories of my childhood. My mother told us a story of how her father would store all the seeds in his mouth, and after finishing his watermelon, was able to spit each seed out in a rapid stream. This became my goal. I suffered from not learning this technique. After 10 years of not eating melon, that first bite was what one could call an enlightening moment. Therefore, I continue to eat another chunk after another and another. That moment of joy and happiness was short-lived and fleeting. I did not have any of my regular reactions, yet I did pay for it later on. I got a stomachache. This came about because of my greed, ignorance, and ego. I knew of the consequences, but I ignored them because of that greed inside of me. I could have had only a taste, but I wanted more and more, and I tried to achieve that first bite's experience. We experience many fleeting moments of what could be described as an enlightening moment or experience. Yet these experiences are merely a taste of what we think of what enlightenment is. We know of the consequences of our actions, yet we allow our blind passions to take over. We suffer when it does not go our way, and we sometimes have to pay the consequences. However, our lives are filled with small, minute moments of enlightenment. But then, in a split second, we can fall into suffering. We are blind to our greed, anger, ignorance, and our ego. When we fail to achieve any goal, there is suffering. There is also the opposite side when we do achieve any goal, but our craving to keep them only creates more suffering. This is called birth and death. We gain a moment of realization, and then it fades from our grasps. We can learn and understand a math problem, find the answer, and the results are so rewarding. However, the next math problem is even more challenging, and finding the answer takes another detour of what we just learned. We have to work and study harder because we cannot use the solutions of the last problem. Oh, how we suffer and agonize. Achievements of moments of realization are few and fleeting. That feeling that we have accomplished is thrilling and exciting. Then it is replaced with the stronger desire to keep that moment. However, life is not like that. The novelty eventually wears away. We fall into the category of desire or wants. It is a cycle that is difficult to get off. Yet we can utilize the suffering. It can drive us to study more or seek different paths. Solutions are there. We only have to open our eyes and search for them. How do we know what experiences of joy and happiness are without the experience of suffering? Siddhartha, before attaining Buddhahood, suffered. He was lost, even with all his riches and kingdom. He suffered and practiced for years with the 5 ascetics, searching for answers. He suffered, seeing the misery, pain, illness, and death of those around him. He suffered fighting his own demons, and he was able to attain enlightenment. Shinran Shonin suffered from childhood and throughout his life. He lived in a monastery for 20 years, trying to reach enlightenment. He was persecuted in the beginning, lost his teacher, and then exiled to a country without means or cultural knowledge. Shinran suffered, yet he never surrendered to defeat. He continued propagating the Dharma more diligently. He entrusted in Nembutsu and spread the teachings to everyone and anyone who wanted to hear and learn. We suffer, and that is true. Yet we have our Namu Amidabutsu for strength and courage. We have Nembutsu to guide and direct us. It can be our calming and soothing remedy in our suffering and our joy when all things goes well. We rely on Nembutsu and we entrust in the teachings. Even those days of suffering, we are never abandoned. Through our Nembutsu, Buddha hears our call. It is that call that we can take the first step into trusting. Like all life, our suffering can diminish with those moments of joy and happiness. Yet, we tend to be greedy and want more and more experiences of enlightenment. It is Namu Amitsu that shares in those times. We find joy, peace, and happiness in the moments of enlightenment, and we also live with our sufferings. However, we have our Namu Amitabutsu that pushes us to the next moment. We live life to the best of our ability and relying and trusting of the Buddha and Shinran Shonin. We are only human, and we have the ability to hear, learn, seek answers, and can think. We can be so thankful for the teachings and share our gratitude through our Namu Amida Butsu. Take care, stay healthy, follow the precautions during this pandemic, and it is always Namu Amida Butsu. If you would please put your hands together in Gasho. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu.